lot arriving in Jim's boat. Another lot not far behind.
Oh, good evening, Fred.
Good evening, Mr. Rogers.
Is that the boat?
Yes.
Oh, dear, already? Have you remembered everything?
I think so. Lemon.
Oh, yeah.
The schnitzel. Cream. Eggs. Tomatoes. And butter. That's all, isn't it?
Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, so much to do, I don't know where to start. No maids till tomorrow. Not these guests arriving today.
Calm down, Ethel. Everything looks shipshape. It looks pretty nice, don't it, Fred?
Looks neat enough for me. Kind of bare, though. Now, the rich folks likes places bare, it seems.
Rich folks is queer.
And he was a Swiss sort of gentleman what built this place. Spent a wicked lot of money on it, he did. And then gets tired and puts the whole thing up for sale.
Well, beats me why the Owens wanted to buy it. Living on an island.
Oh, off it, Ethel. Get all that stuff into the kitchen. They'll be here any minute now.
Making that steep climb an excuse for a drink, I suppose. Like some others I know.
How'd the young Jim arrive? Well, they're getting along now. Two gentlemen arriving by car, I understand.
I shall be wanting at least 5 loaves and 8 pints of milk in the morning. Remember?
All right.
Oh, and Fred, don't forget the oil for the engine. I ought to be cranking her up tomorrow, so I'll have the lights running down.
Right. Just held up at the railway. It's at the station now. Bring it across this thing tomorrow.
Right. Oh, and give a hand with the luggage, will you?
Right.
Oh, I forgot to give you the list of guests, Tom.
Thanks, old girl. Doesn't look like a very classy lot, does it? Oh, Miss Claythorne. She'll probably be the secretary.
I don't owe much with secretaries. Where's the hospital nurses? And them giving themselves airs and graces and looking down on the servants.
Do stop grousing, Ethel, and get along to that lovely, expensive, up-to-date kitchen of yours.
Too many newfangled gadgets for my fancy.
So, this is it.
How perfectly lovely.
Miss Claythorne.
You're Rogers.
Yes, good evening, miss.
Good evening, Rogers. Will you bring up my luggage and Captain Lombard's, please?
Very good, miss.
Thank you. You've been here before?
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. and Mrs. Owen?
No, Johnny Brewer, pal of mine, built this place. It's a sad and poignant story.
A love story.
Yes, ma'am. The saddest of all. You see, Johnny was a wealthy old boy who fell in love with the famous Lily Logan. Married her. Bought this island and built this place for her.
Sounds most romantic.
Poor Johnny. He thought that by cutting her off from the rest of the world, without so much as a telephone as means of communication, that he could hold her.
But of course, the fair Lily tired of her ivory tower and escaped.
Johnny went back to Wall Street, made a few more millions, and the place was sold.
And here we are. Well, I ought to find Mrs. Owen. The others will be up in a minute.
It would be very rude to leave me here all alone.
Would it? Well, I wonder where she is.
She'll be along when she feels like it. While we wait, do you think I could have a drink? I'm very dry.
Of course you could.
What's yours?
Oh, no thanks. Not for me. Not on duty.
A good secretary is never off duty.
Really? Oh, this is exciting.
What is?
All this. The smell of the sea, the gulls, the beach, and this lovely house. Oh, I am going to enjoy myself.
I think you are. I think we both are. Here's to you. You really are very lovely.
Where is Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen have been detained in London, miss, and won't be down until tomorrow. I thought you knew.
Tomorrow? But I
Here's a
thought...
list of the guests expected, miss, if you'd like. The second boat load is just arrived.
Thank you. Oh, how awful. Say you will be sweet and help me, won't you?
I won't move from your side.
Thank you. It seems awfully silly to have brought only us the first boat and all the rest of the second.
That was design, I'm afraid, not accident.
Design? What do you mean?
Well, I simply suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for further passengers. That and 5 shillings soon got the engine started.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, they aren't a very exciting lot, are they?
I thought the young man was rather nice looking.
Callow. Definitely callow. And very, very young.
And I suppose you think a man in his 30s is more attractive?
I don't think, my darling. I know.
What is the place you have here?
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Oh, too bad.
May I introduce Captain Lombard and Mr.
Marston. Anthony Marston.
Have a drink.
Oh, thank you.
What will you have? Gin, whiskey, sherry?
Whiskey, I think.
How are you?
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
No win.
Oh, wizard.
How are you, sir?
My name's Lombard. Have a drink, Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Marston.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Marston. Don't mind if I do, sir. It's a stiff climb up here. Well, phew, what height? What a view. Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
Does it? What part?
Oh, the Tau, Durban, you know.
Really?
Well, here's the difference. Do you know South Africa?
Me? No.
That's my natal state.
Interesting country, I should think.
Finest country in the world, sir. Gold, silver, diamonds, everything a man could want. Talk about a land flowing with beer and skittles.
How do you do?
General Mackenzie, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow. May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name, sir.
Whiskey and soda, sir.
Thanks. You in the service?
Well, formerly in the King's African Rifles. Bit too tame for me in peacetime. Chucked it.
Pity. When? Thank you.
Where is Mrs. Owen? Miss Brent, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been detained in London, I'm afraid, and
Won't be down until tomorrow.
Indeed. Extraordinary. Did she miss the train?
I expect so. Don't you have something? May I introduce Captain Lombard, General Mackenzie, Mr. Marston? I think you all met on the boat. And Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name. I take your case, ma'am.
Do let me get you a drink. A glass of sherry, dry martini, whiskey and soda.
I never touch alcohol.
You never touch alcohol.
You know, young man, you left us standing there on the wharf.
I'm afraid, Miss Brent, I was to blame for that.
I find it most extraordinary that Mrs. Owen should not be here to receive her guests.
Perhaps she's just the kind of person who can't help missing trains.
That's what I reckon she is.
Not at all. Mrs. Owen isn't the least like that.
Well, perhaps it was her husband's fault.
She hasn't got a husband. I should like to go to my room.
Yes, of course. I'll take you there.
You shall find Mrs. Rogers upstairs, miss. She will show you to your room. I'm afraid our host and hostess have been detained, sir. My name's Lombard.
Mine's Walgrave. How do you do?
How do you do? Could I get you a drink?
Yes, please. A whiskey.
How are you, sir? Davis. Davis is the name. It's a wonderful place you have here. Quite unique.
Yes, as you say, quite unique.
Your drink, sir.
So Badger Berkeley rolled up here.
Who did you say?
Badger Berkeley, he roped me into the show. When's he coming?
I don't think he is coming. No one of the name of Berkeley here.
Fancy double crosser. Let me down. Well, it's a pretty wizard island and a rather wizard girl, that secretary. Got to liven things up a bit. I say, old man, what about dressing for dinner if there's time?
Let's go and explore.
Oh, wizard.
Things are a bit at 6s and 7s, what with the Owens not showing us.
Tricky what? I say, wizard place for a holiday, what?
Aren't you going to sit down? Well, to tell you the truth, you seem to be in my chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were one of the family.
Well, it's not that exactly. To tell you the truth, I've never been here before. But you see, I live at the Betton Club and have for the last 10 years. And my chair just happens to be just about there. Can't get used to sitting anywhere else.
It becomes a bit of a habit.
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you. Oh. Well, it's not quite as good as the club's, but it's a nice chair. To tell you the truth, I was a bit surprised when I got the invitation to come down here. Haven't had this sort of thing for well over 4 years. Very nice of them, I thought.
May I have your keys, sir?
Is Lady Constance Cummington expected here, can you tell me?
Lady Constance Cummington, I don't think so, sir. Might I have your keys, sir?
No thanks, I'll unpack for myself.
Very good, sir. Dinner is at 8 o'clock. Shall I show you to your room?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Here you are, sir. I'll call Rogers.
Davis is the name, sir. Dr. Armstrong, I believe.
Yes.
Thought so. Never forget a face.
Don't tell me I've forgotten one of my patients.
Oh, no, nothing like that. It's just I saw you in court once giving expert evidence.
Oh, really? Are you interested in the law?
Well, you see, I'm from South Africa. Naturally, legal processes in this country interest the colonial.
Yes, of course.
Have a drink?
No, thank you. I never touched it.
Mind if I do?
Not a bit.
I've been having a look around the island. A wonderful place, isn't it?
Wonderful. I thought as I was coming across the mainland what a haven of peace this was.
Too peaceful for some, I dare say.
Wonderfully restful. Wonderful for the nerves.
You're a nerve specialist, aren't you? How did you come here?
I motored down. Dropped on a patient on the way. Great improvement. Wonderful response.
This part of 200 miles, isn't it? How long did it take?
I didn't hurry. I never hurry. Bad for the nerves. Some mannerless young fellow that drove me in the ditch in Amesbury. Shot past him at 80 miles an hour. Disgraceful bit of driving. I'd like to have had his number. Yes.
If only more people would take down the numbers of these young road dogs.
Yes, you must excuse me. I must have a word with Mr. Owen.
But Mr. Owen isn't coming down.
You rang, sir.
Take my hat, will you? What time's supper?
Dinner's at 8 o'clock, sir, in a quarter of an hour. I think tonight dressing shall be optional.
A wonderful place you have here.
Thank you, sir.
Been here long?
Just under a week, sir.
I don't suppose you know much about these guests here.
No, sir.
All old friends of the family.
I couldn't say, sir.
Oh, well. Oh, Roger.
Yes, sir.
Rogers, could you put some sandwiches and a bottle of beer in my room at night? I get an hell of an appetite with this sea air.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
Rogers, I'll see you won't lose by it. Could you show me to my room?
This way, sir.
Thank you. I could use with a wash and brush up straight away.
Oh, there you are, Rogers. You want to clean these dirty glasses. You're always leaving the dirty work to me. Here I am with a full-course dinner on my hands and no one to help me. Well, you might come and give me a hand with the dishing up. Who was it you were talking to, by the way?
Oh, Davis, a South African gentleman. No class, if you ask me, and no money either.
Well, I don't like him. I don't like any of them much. It's more like that bunch we had in the board now, I'd say.
Davis gives out he's a millionaire or something. Why, you should see his underwear. As cheap as they make them.
Well, as I said, it's not treating us right. All these visitors arriving today, and the train's not coming until tomorrow. What do they think we are?
Well, the money is good.
And so it ought to be. Catch me going into service again unless the money was good.
Well, it is good, so what are you going on about?
Well, I can tell you this, Rogers. I'm not staying in any place where I'm put upon. Cooking's me business. I'm a good cook.
First-rate old girl.
But the kitchen's me place, and housework's none of me business. All of these guests, well, I've a good mind to put me hat and coat on and walk out. Right now, I'll go straight back to Plymouth.
You can't do that, old girl.
And who says I can't? And why not, I should like to know?
You're on an island. Had you forgotten that?
I don't know as I fancy being on an island.
Come to think of it, neither do I. There's no slipping down to the pub or going to the picture tonight. Oh, well, anyways, the wages only count for the difficulties, and there's plenty of beer in the house.
That's all you ever think about. Beer.
Stop your nagging and get along to that kitchen, or else your dinner will be spoiled.
Well, it'll be spoiled anywhere, I expect. Everybody's going to be late. Wasted on them anyway. Thank goodness I didn't make a souffle. Oh, dinner won't be a minute, miss. Just a question of dishing
Is everything all right, Rogers? Can you manage between the two of you?
Yes, thank you. The missus talks a lot, but she gets the job done.
What a lovely evening.
Yes, indeed.
How plainly one can hear the sea.
A pleasant sound.
Hardly a breath of wind and deliciously warm. Not like England at all.
I should have thought you might feel a little uncomfortable in that dress.
Oh, no.
Rather revealing, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
You'll excuse me, my dear, but you're a young girl and have your living to do.
Yes.
A well-bred woman doesn't like her secretary to appear flashy. It looks, you know, as though you were trying to attract the attention of the opposite sex.
And would you say I do attract them?
That's beside the point. A girl who deliberately sets out to get the attention of men won't be likely to keep her job very long.
Ah, surely that depends on who she's working for.
Really, Miss Claythorne?
Aren't you being a little unkind?
Young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashion.
Disgusting.
Yes, low-cut evening dresses. Lying half naked on beaches. All this so-called sunbathing. Ha! Excuse for immodest behavior. Nothing more. Familiarity. Christian names. Drinking cocktails. Look at the young men nowadays. Decadent. Look at that young Marston. What good is he? And that Captain Lombard.
What do you object to in Captain Lombard? I'd say he was a man who led a varied and interesting life.
The man is an adventurer. Oh, this younger generation is no good at all.
You don't like youth, I see.
What do you mean?
I was just remarking that you don't like young people.
And is there any reason I should, pray?
Oh, no. But it seems to me that you must miss out on an awful lot.
You are very impertinent.
I'm sorry, but it's just what I think.
The world will never improve until we stamp out immodesty. What did you say?
Nothing.
What about the old boy?
Those look like tortoises, don't you think so?
All judges look like tortoises. They have that venomous way of darting their heads in and out. Mr. Justice Wargrave is no exception.
I hadn't realized he was the judge.
Oh, yes. He's probably been responsible for sending more innocent men to their death than anyone in England. Hello, you. Do you two know each other? Dr. Armstrong, Miss Vera Claythorne. Armstrong and I were just saying that the old judge...
Yes, I heard you, and so did he, I think.
Good morning.
Miss Brent, isn't it?
There is something I want to ask you. Will you come out here, please?
A remarkably fine night.
Yes.
Absolutely wizard car. Supercharged sports melodic auto. Don't see many of them on the road. I can get over 100 out of it.
And did you come here from London?
Yes. 208 miles. I did it in a bit over 4 hours. Too many cars on the road, though, to keep it up. That's 90 going on a Salisbury Plain. Not bad.
I think you passed me on the road.
Oh, yes?
You nearly drove me into the ditch.
Did I? Sorry.
If I'd seen your number, I reported you.
But you were fiddling about in the middle of the road.
Fiddling? Me?
I say, how about freshening our drinks?
Oh, good idea. Can you have one, Miss Claythorne?
No, thank you.
Good evening, Mrs. Owen.
Why, Mrs. Owen?
Oh, you would make the most attractive wife for any wealthy businessman.
Do you always flirt so outrageously?
Always.
Oh, well, now we know.
Tell me, what's old Miss Brent talking to the judge about? She tried to buttonhole him earlier.
I don't know. Funny, she seems so definite that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
You don't think that Mrs. Owen, that there isn't, that they aren't...
What marriage, you mean?
Damn shame we didn't know each other. I could have given you a lift down.
Yes, that would have been grand.
I'd like to show you what I can do across Salisbury Plain. Tell you what, maybe we can drive back together. But it seems damn silly. I've got an empty car.
Yes, but she likes the way she's going back now, and I don't think she needs some
look! Oh, it's so sweet. Those 10 little China Indians. And there's the old nursery rhyme.
Now, what are you talking about? What Indians? What nursery rhyme?
10 little Indian boys going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little Indian boys stayed up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8.
8 little Indian boys traveling from Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7.
Gentlemen, silence, please. You were charged with these indictments. That you did respectively, and at diverse times, commit the following. Edward Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleese. William Henry Bloor, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Lindor. Emily Caroline Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you were guilty of the deaths of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs. Thomas Rogers and Ethel Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
I'm gone, man. It's all right. There's nothing much sheep in it, that's all. Get some brandy. I'll just get some brandy.
Who was that speaking? It sounded like I don't know
What's going on here? What kind of practical joke
Where
was
the hell
that?
did that voice come from?
Ah, here we are.
You are charged
Turn it off!
with
Turn
these
it off! It's
indictments.
A disgraceful and
horrible!
heartless practical joke.
So you think it's a practical joke, do
What
you?
else would it be?
Who the devil turned it on?
I'm not prepared to give an opinion. Be quiet.
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me.
Excuse me, sir. Hey, don't talk to any. Hey, it's all right, Ethel. You'll sit together.
You'll be all right now. Just the acid time.
Did I faint, sir?
Yes.
It was the voice. The awful voice. Like a judgment.
Where's the brandy? Here, doctor.
Here, drink this.
now. It gave me a turn.
I suppose it did. Wicked lies it was. I'd like to know
Why did I put that record on the gramophone? Was it you orders?
I was just obeying orders, sir.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owens.
Let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owens' orders were what exactly?
That I was to go in the study and put a record on the gramophone. I would find the records in a drawer in there, sir. I was to start with that one.
A very remarkable story.
It's a truth, sir. Before heaven, it's a truth. I didn't know what it was, not for a moment. I just thought it was to give you music.
Was there a title?
A title? Yes. It's entitled Swan Song.
Preposterous. The whole thing is preposterous. Slinging accusations around like this. Something must be done about this fellow Owen, whoever he is.
That is exactly what we must go into very carefully. I should suggest that you get your wife to bed, Rogers, then come back here.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a hand.
Will she be all right, Doctor?
Oh, yes, quite all right.
I don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
I'll get them.
Preposterous. The whole thing is preposterous.
Whiskey for you, Sir Lawrence?
Yes, thank you.
I should like a glass of water, please.
Yes, I'll get it. I could do for a spot of whiskey myself.
She'll be all right. I've given her a sedative. Now then, Doctor, you want a drink after all this? No, thank you. I never touch it. Oh, yes, so you said. You have this one, General.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Now then, Rogers, let us get to the bottom of this. Tell us exactly what you know about Mr. Owen.
He owns this place, sir.
I'm aware of that fact. What I want you to do is tell me what you yourself know about the man.
I can't say, sir. You see, I've never seen him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
We were engaged by letter through a registry office, the Regina in Plymouth.
It's a high-class firm. We can check on that.
Have you got the letter?
The letter engaged us, yes, sir.
Go on with your story.
We arrived here like the letter said, sir, on the 4th. Everything was in order, plenty of food in stock. Just needed dusting and that.
What's next?
Yesterday, by the morning post, we received another letter stating that Mr. and Mrs. Owen might be detained in London, and if so, we was to do the best we could. It also gave instructions about dinner and put it on the gramophone record. Here it is, sir.
Ritz Hotel in typewritten.
I don't understand why
Quiet now! Ensign paper, most common make. We shan't get much out of this. We might try it for fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite the little detective, aren't you?
Got some fancy Christian names, haven't he? Ulick Norman Owen. Quite a mouthful.
Well obliged to you, Mr. Marston. I think the time has come for all of us to pool our information together. I think it would be well for everyone to come forward with the information they have regarding our unknown hosts. Most profitable, if each one of us were to explain exactly how we were invited here.
There is something very peculiar about all this. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It purported to come from a certain woman I met at a summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I am quite certain I have never met or been friendly with anyone by the name of Owen.
Have you got the letter, Miss Brent?
Yes, I shall fetch it for you.
Thank you. And Miss Claythorne?
I never actually met you, Miss Owen. I wanted a holiday post and applied to a secretarial agency. Miss Grenfell from London. I was offered this post and accepted.
You were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No. This is the letter.
Indian Island, Snickerhaven, Devon. I have received your name from Miss Grenfell's agency. I shall be glad to pay you the salary you ask. I shall expect you to take up your duties on August 8th. The train is the 12-ton from Paddington, and you will be met at Oak Bridge Station. I include £5 for expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen. Thank you. Mr. Marston?
I don't actually know the Owens. I got a wire from no pal of mine. Badger Berkeley. Told me to roll up here. Surprised me a bit because I had an idea the old horse had gone to Norway. I haven't got the wire.
Thank you. Dr. Armstrong.
In the circumstances, I think I may admit my visit here was professional. Mr. Owen wrote me that he was worried about his wife's health. Her nerves, to be precise. He wanted a report without her being alarmed. Therefore suggested my visit here be regarded as a boarding guest.
You had no previous acquaintance with the family?
No.
But you had no hesitation in paying the summons?
A colleague of mine was mentioned and a handsome fee suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you remember me. We were together at Belhaven Guest House. I'm starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there's an opening for a place where there's good plain English cooking and a nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and grand things. I should like you to spend your summer holiday on Indian Island as my guest. I suggest August 8th, 12:40 for the Paddington Gate Bridge. Yours sincerely, yes, the signature is slightly ambiguous.
I like that nudity touch.
Here's my own decoy letter from an old friend of mine, Lady Constance Cummington. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way. It is me to join her here. Refers to her host and hostess in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, I just thought of something. But I think you should...
We will take one thing at a time, if you don't mind, Captain Lombard. General Mackenzie.
Oh, yes. I got a letter from this, Owen fellow. Thought I must have met him sometime at the club. He mentioned a few old cronies of mine were to be here. Hope an excuse informal invitation. Haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
And now then you, Captain Lombard.
Same sort of thing. Invitation mentioning mutual friends. I haven't kept the letter either.
Just now we had a disturbing experience. The boy spoke to us all by name, uttering certain accusations against us. At the moment, I'm interested in a minor point. Amongst the names received was that of William Henry Blore. There's no one named Blore amongst us. The name of Davis was not mentioned. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Cat's out of the bag, it seems. I guess I better admit, my name isn't Davis.
You are William Henry Blore.
That's right.
I will add something to that. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but I've also noticed this evening that you're a first-class liar. You claim to be from Natal, South Africa. I know South Africa and Natal well, and I'm prepared to swear that you've never set foot there in your life.
You gentlemen have got me all wrong. I'm an ex-CID man.
Oh, a copper.
I've got my credentials, I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put on for this job.
By whom?
By Mr. Owen. It's a letter with a nice expense check in it. And I was to come to the house posing as one of the party guests. He also sent a list with all your names on it.
What?
And I was to keep an eye on you all.
Any reason given?
Said Miss Owen had some very valuable jewels. Miss Owen, my foot. I don't believe he's no such person.
I think your conclusions are quite justified. Ulick Norman Owen, Una Nancy Owen. Each time, that is to say, UN Owen. Or by some slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
But it's fantastic, mad!
Oh yes, I've no doubt in my own mind that we've been invited here by a madman. Probably a dangerous homicidal lunatic. Oh my God. Whoever it is who has enticed us here certainly has taken the trouble to find out a great deal about us. A very great deal. And out of his knowledge concerning us, he has made certain definite accusations.
Well, it's all very well to make an accusation.
Our unknown friend accuses me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. He came up before me for the murder of an elderly woman. Grant you this, he didn't make a good impression on the jury. Nevertheless, he certainly was guilty. I sum up accordingly. The jury brought in a verdict of guilty, the appeal was dismissed, and the man was duly executed. My conscience is perfectly clear on the matter. I did my duty. I passed last sentence on a rightly convicted murderer.
Did you know Seaton at all? I mean, personally.
Look here, I know nothing of Seaton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I swear he's lying.
This Owen fellow is a madman, an absolute madman. He's got a tree in his bonnet. Got over the wrong end of the stick all the way around. Best to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I feel I ought to say no truth in whatever he said about young Arthur Richmond. Richmond was one of my officers. I sent him on reconnaissance in 1917. He was killed. I also like to say resent very much. Slur on my wife. Best woman in the world. Been dead a long time. Absolutely. Caesar's wife.
I've just been thinking. John and Lucy Cone. Must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking for me. But of course you're right, sir. It was damn bad luck for them too. Of course it was pure accident. They rushed out of some sort of cottage or other. My license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
This speeding's wrong, all wrong. Young men like you are a danger to the community.
I said it was just an accident.
Might I say a word, sir?
Go ahead, Rogers.
There was mention, sir, of me and Mrs. Rogers and of Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it, sir. We were with Miss Brady the night she died, but she was always in poor health, always from the time we came to her. There was a storm that night. The telephone was out, so we couldn't get a doctor to her. So I set up for him on foot, sir, but he got there too late. We'd done everything we could for her, devoted to her we were. Anyone would tell you the same. And there was never a word said against us. Never a word.
Came into a nice little something out of death, I suppose.
Miss Brady did leave us a legacy in recognition of our service. And why not, I'd like to know.
What about you, Law?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
I know. Lander, you mean?
The London and Commercial Bank robbery. I remember the name, though it didn't come before me. Landor was convicted on your evidence. You were the police officer in charge of the case.
I was, my lord.
Landor got penal servitude for life. He died a year later at Dartmoor. He's a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was him who put the night watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were complimented, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got a promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word. Duty.
What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. Well, the name meant nothing to me. What was it? Close. I really don't remember having a patient of that name, or it's been connected with death in any way. The thing's a complete mystery to me. Of course, it was a long time ago. It might possibly be one of my operation cases in hospital. Well, they come too late, so many of these people. Then when a patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then, of course, it's always easier to take up nerve cases and give up surgery. Some, of course, give up drink.
I protest. You've no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
My dear fellow, I never suggested that you did. Anyway, Mr. Unknown Owen is the only one who knows all the facts.
What about you, Miss Claythorne?
I was nursery governess to Peter Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day, when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what was happening, I swam after him. I couldn't get there in time.
Was there an inquest?
Yes. I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. And you, Miss Brent?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Then you reserve your defense.
There is no question of defense. I always have acted in accordance with the dictates serve my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we all seem to be. Myself excepted, of course.
We are waiting for your story, Captain Lombard.
I haven't got the story.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you all. It's just that I plead guilty. It's perfectly true. I left those men alone in the bush. Matter of self-preservation.
Do you mean you abandoned your men?
Well, not exactly the act of a puka mahib, I must admit. But then again, self-preservation is a man's first duty. And natives don't mind dying. They don't feel about it the way we Europeans do, you see.
Our inquiry rests there. Captain Rogers, who else is on this island besides ourselves, you and your wife?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
No one? Are you sure of that?
Quite sure, sir.
Thank you. Don't go yet, Rogers. Not quite clear as to the purpose of why we've assembled here. In my opinion, our host is not sane. I think it would be well for everyone to leave here as soon as possible. I suggest that we leave tonight.
Hey,
I don't
it's
think
impossible, sir. There's no boat on the island.
No boat at all?
No, sir.
Why don't you telephone to the maid?
There's no telephone either. Fred Narracott comes over every morning and delivers the milk and bread and post and papers and takes the orders.
A bit unsporting, what? Bear up the mystery before we go. It's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
In my time of life, I have no desire for thrills.
And the legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. Get to it.
Is he okay? Wake up. My God, he's dead.
Dead? Do you mean the fellow just choked and died?
You can call it choking if you like. He died of asphyxiation, right enough.
Never knew a man could die just like that. Just a choking fit.
Life we are in death.
A man doesn't die of a mere choking fit, General Mackenzie. Marston's death isn't what we call a natural death.
Was there something in his whiskey?
Yes. From the smell of its cyanide. Probably potassium cyanide. Acts pretty well instantaneously.
Then he must have put it in the glass himself.
Suicide, eh? Now that's a rum go.
You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
Oh, look here. One of the Indians from off the mantelpiece broke in.
We've been up to the top. No sign of that food.
It's very early still.
Oh, I know. See that fellow that brings the milk and the bread and all that. I should have thought he'd be here before now. There's no sign of any breakfast yet either. Where's that fellow Rogers?
Oh, James, let's hold about breakfast having
How's the weather looking?
Wind's quieting down a bit. Still rather a mackerel sky. Old boy on the train yesterday said we were in for some nasty weather. Shouldn't wonder if he wasn't right. I wish that boat would come. Well, the sooner we get off this island, the better. It's absurd not keeping a boat on the island. There's no proper harbor. If the wind should come to blow from the southeast, the boat would get dashed to pieces against the rocks.
But a boat would always be able to make it from the mainland?
No, Miss Brent, that's just what it wouldn't.
You mean we should be cut off from the land?
That's right. Condensed milk, ribita, and tin stuff till the gale blows itself out. But you needn't worry. The sea's only a bit choppy. I wish that boat would come.
It seems to me the pleasures of living on an island are rather overrated.
Don't slap up against the cliff. You can't see the mainland till you climb to the top. Shall we go up there again? It's no good, Doctor. A watch pot never bowls. Besides, there was no sign of a boat putting out when we were up there just now.
What can this man Narracott be doing?
They're all like that in Devon. Never heard of them,
Now,
sir.
where's Rogers? He ought to be about.
Last me, Rogers was pretty badly rattled last night.
Ghastly little thing.
Locked the window properly. I take an even bet that Rogers and his wife did that old lady in.
You really think so?
Well, I never saw a man more scared. Guilty as hell, I should say.
Fantastic. The whole thing, fantastic.
Say, you suppose he's off it?
Who? Rogers? But there isn't any way he could. There's no boat on the island. You just said so.
Yes, but we've only Rogers' word for that. Suppose there is one. And he's nipped off in it first thing.
Oh, no. He would be allowed to leave the island.
Sleep well, General.
I dreamed.
Shouldn't wonder at that.
I dreamed of Leslie. My wife, you know.
Oh, yes. I wish Narracott would come.
Who's Narracott?
The bloke that brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Was it only yesterday?
I feel that way too. The gramophone records, suicide, just about all a man can stand. I shan't be sorry to see the back of Indian Island. I give you my word.
Oh, you don't understand. How strange.
Well, what's that, General?
I don't like the look of him.
Reckon young Marston's suicide was quite a blow. He looks years older.
Where is that poor young fellow now?
In the study. Put him there myself.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was suicide.
What else could it be?
I don't know. But suicide...
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the night. What if this Mr. Unknown Owen is on the island? Rogers may not know, or he may have told him to say so. Pretty ghastly thought, isn't it?
Yes. But would it have been possible for anyone to tamper with Marston's drink without our seeing them?
Well, it was up there on the mantel. Anyone could have dropped a dollop of cyanide in it if they'd have wanted to.
There you are, Doctor. Could you come in and have a look at my wife, sir?
Yes, of course. Is she still feeling under the weather?
She's...
You won't leave the island without me.
I wish the boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes, the sooner we get in touch with the police, the better.
The police!
Why, yes. Police ought to be notified in a case of suicide, you know, Miss Claypool.
Yes, of course.
Whoa, what's going on here? No sign of any breakfast.
Are you hungry, General? Feeling like breakfast?
Leslie! Leslie, my dear!
No, I'm not. I'm Vera Claythorne.
Yes. Forgive me. I took you for my wife.
Oh,
I'm waiting for her, you see.
but I thought your wife was dead long ago.
Yes. I thought so too. But she's here, on this island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Good morning. Seem to have overslept myself. Boat here yet?
No.
Bit late, isn't it?
Yes.
Good morning. You and I could have had a little swim before breakfast. Too bad all this.
Too bad you overslept yourself.
You must have very good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
Didn't dream of African natives by any chance, did you?
No, I didn't. Did you dream of convicts on Dartmoor?
Now look here, Captain Lombard, I don't find that very funny.
Well, you started it. I'm hungry. What about some breakfast?
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
Oh. Well, I suppose we can always forage for ourselves.
Hello, that's strange.
What is?
You remember we found one of these little fellows smashed last night?
Yes, so that ought to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 here when we arrived.
Yes. Well?
There are only 8.
So there are.
I think it's queer, don't you?
Probably only were 9 to begin with. We assumed there were 10 simply because of the ride. Hello, Armstrong. What's wrong?
Miss Rogers is dead.
Oh,
No.
how?
Died in her sleep. Rogers thought she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her. He lit the kitchen fire and did this room. Then as she hadn't appeared, he went in. Was alarmed by the look of her for me. She's been dead about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it? Hot?
Impossible to say. It may have been.
She had a pretty bad scare last night. She had unconscious. I wonder if she could have been poisoned, Doctor.
It is perfectly possible.
With the same stuff as young Marston?
Oh, no, not cyanide. It would have to be a narcotic or hypnotic. One of barbiturates or chlor, something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you?
Yes, I gave her a mild dose of luminol.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Certainly not. What do you mean?
All right, no offense, no offense. I just thought perhaps she had a
You
weak
know, I gave her. Gotta hurt anyone.
Then what exactly did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy.
If the death had occurred in the case of one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Without any previous knowledge of the woman's state of health, I certainly could not give a certificate.
She was a very nervous-looking creature. She'd had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
Her heart certainly failed to beat. What caused it? What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
Well, you've all heard. She was accused, together with her husband, of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
And you believe that's true, Miss Brent?
Well, certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much for her. She literally died of fear.
It is a possible theory. One cannot adopt it, though, without a more exact knowledge of her state of health. If there was a latent cardiac
Call
weakness...
it, if you prefer, an act of God.
Oh, no, Miss Brent.
You regard it as impossible for a sinner to be struck down by the wrath of God. I do not.
My dear lady, in my experience of years doing, Providence leaves the work of conviction. Chastisement to us mortals. Oftentimes the process is fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical here. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night after she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing? Nothing at all? Had a glass of water, a cup of tea? I bet she had a cup of tea. That sort of always does.
Rogers assures me she had nothing whatever.
You might say so.
So that's your idea, is it?
Why not? You all heard the accusation last night. What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is, for one. Rogers and his wife did that old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it.
Happy?
Well, they know they're in no immediate danger. Then last night some lunatic goes and spills the beans. This woman cracks, goes to pieces. She's a living danger to her husband. They've done a murder and got away with it. Now if it's the woman that breaks, so what does he do? He takes a nice little dollop of something and drops it into a nice cup of tea. And after she's at it, he washes up the cup and saucer and tells the doctor she ain't had nothing at all.
Oh, no, that's impossible. A man wouldn't do that. Not to his wife.
I'm surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me. I'm getting along with breakfast now. I'm afraid I'm not much of a hand as cook. It's lunch that's worrying me. I was wondering if cold tongue and gelatin would be satisfactory. And I could manage some fried potatoes. And then there's tinned fruit and cheese and biscuits.
That will be fine, Rogers.
Lunch? Lunch? We shan't be here for lunch. And when the hell's the boat coming?
Mr. Blower.
What?
I'm afraid the boat won't be coming, sir.
What?
Fred and Airclock is always here by 8 o'clock. Is there anything else you require?
No, thank you, Rogers.
And it isn't Rogers. His wife lying dead and Dad, he's fixing breakfast and calmly talking about lunch. Now he says the boat won't be coming. How the hell does he know?
Mr. Blower.
What?
Oh, don't you see? He's dazed. He's just carrying on automatically as a good servant would. It's pathetic, really.
Calling a fast one, if you ask me.
I think the really significant thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means we're being deliberately cut off from him.
There's very little time. Very little time.
What's that, General?
Very little time. We mustn't waste it talking about things that don't matter.
Why do you think Narracott hasn't showed up?
I think the ubiquitous Mr. Elwin has given orders.
You mean told him it's some sort of practical joke or something like that?
Oh, he'd never fallen for that, would he?
Why not? Indian Island's got a reputation for people having crazy parties. This is just another crazy idea. Narracott knows there's plenty of food and drink on the island. Probably thinks the whole thing's a huge joke.
Couldn't we light a bonfire on top of the island? Could they see it?
That's probably been provided against. All signals are to be ignored. We're quite cut off, all right.
But can't we do something?
Oh, yes, we can do something. We can find the funny gentleman that staged this whole thing, Mr. Unknown Owen. I'll bet anything you like he's somewhere on this island. And the sooner we find him, the better. Though, in my opinion, he's as mad as a hatter. And as dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a very good simile, Captain Lombard. The rattlesnake at least gives warning of its approach.
Warning? Oh my God, yes, this is our warning. 10 little Indians. There were 10 of us after Narracott left, right?
Right.
10 little Indian boys going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there was... Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then 9 little Indian boys stayed up very late. One overslept himself. That last part fits Mrs. Rogers rather well, doesn't it?
You don't think... You mean he wants to kill us all?
Yes, I think he does.
And each one fits with a rhyme?
No, it's coincidence. It must be coincidence.
Only 8 little Indians here, Doctor. I suppose that's coincidence, too. What about you, Mr. Floor?
Something like this.
But there's nobody on the island.
I'm so sure of that, Doctor. This is terrible.
No one will ever leave this island.
Can't somebody shut up, Grandpa?
Don't you agree with me? What's that? Do you agree with me?
Oh, up to a point, yes.
Good. Then the sooner we get started, the better. Come on, Armstrong, blow.
I don't suppose anyone has a gun on them by any chance, do they? Oh, it's too much to hope for.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you.
Usually. I've been in some tight places before.
You've never been in a tighter place than you are today. There's a homicidal maniac hiding on this island. He's probably got a whole arsenal on him, and he won't be afraid to use it.
You may be wrong there, Blower. Many homicidal maniacs are very quite unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
You'd never guessed there was anything wrong with them.
Well, if he's that type, Doctor, we'll leave him to you. Now then, let's make a start. Captain Lombard, I suggest you search the house while we do the island.
Right, house ought to be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind he doesn't get you before you get him.
Don't worry. But you two had better stick together. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
Very energetic young man, Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If someone is hiding on the island, they'll be bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
I think this name problem needs brains to solve it rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
Guess sit in the sun and think, my dear young lady.
Where did I put that skein of wool?
Did you leave it upstairs? Shall I go and see if I can find it for you?
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I'm glad Captain Lombard has a revolver.
They're all wasting time. Wasting time.
Do you think so?
Yes. It's much better to sit quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course. Oh, I wish I could find Leslie.
Your wife?
Yes, I wish you had known her. She was so pretty and so gay.
Was she?
Yes, and I loved her very much. I was a lot older than she was. She was 27. Arthur Richmond was 26. He was my ADC. Leslie liked the boy. They used to talk of plays and music together. She used to tease him and make fun of him. I was so pleased. I thought she took a motherly interest in the boy. Damn fool! No fool like an old fool. Just like a book, the way I found out. When I was out in France, she wrote to the both of us. But she put the letters in the wrong envelope. So I knew. Oh, it's all right, my dear. It was a very long time ago. But you see, I loved her very much and believed in her. I didn't say anything to him. I let it gather inside. Here, a slow, murderous rage. Damn young hypocrite! I liked the boy, trusted him.
I wonder what the others are doing.
I sent him to his death. It was quite easy, really. All anyone could say was that I made a blunder, sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never knew. I never told her I found out. We went on as usual, but nothing was quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face and gray eyes and brown hair that curled. Yes, I guess in a way it was murder. Curious murder, and I've always been such a law-abiding man. Serves him damn well right. That's what I always thought. But after, well, you know, don't you?
What do you mean?
So, you don't understand. I thought you would. I thought you would be glad, too, that the end was coming. We're all going to die, you know.
I don't know.
You're still young. You haven't got to that yet. The relief, the blessed relief when you know that you've done with it all and you haven't got to carry the burden any longer.
Harold.
Don't talk to me that way! You don't understand. I want to sit and wait. Wait for Leslie to come for me.
I'm frightened. Oh, I'm frightened.
All correct. No secret passages. One course.
No, don't.
I say, you do look a bit low. How about a drink to settle your nerves?
A drink? 2 cockles at 9 o'clock in the morning and you say have a drink? An old man doing punch crackers and you say have a drink? 10 people accused of murder and you say that's all right, just have a drink. Everything's fine as long as you have a drink.
Oh, all right, stay thirsty.
Oh, nothing but a waster, an adventurer. You make me tired.
Say, you are head up. What's the matter, my sweet?
I'm not your sweet.
I'm sorry. I rather thought you were.
Oh, you can think again.
Come now, you don't feel that way, really. You and I have something in common. Rogues and murderers can't fall out.
Rogues and murderers, what?
Okay, you don't like the company of rogues and murderers and you won't have a drink. I'll go and finish searching.
Unpleasant young man. I couldn't find it anywhere. Is anything the matter?
I'm worried about the general. He really is ill, I think.
Feeling poorly, General. His sin has found him out.
No, don't.
One must face back.
Can any of us afford to throw stones?
Even if his wife was no better than she should be, and she must have been a depraved woman, he had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor?
Who?
That was the name, wasn't it?
You are referring to that absurd accusation about myself.
Yes.
Now that we are alone, I do not object to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It was not a fit subject to discuss before gentlemen, so naturally last night I refused. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, was in my service. I was very much deceived in her. Oh, she had nice manners and was clean and willing. I was very pleased. All of that was surest hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals. Disgusting. It was some time before I found out she was what they call in trouble. I was very shocked. Her parents were decent folk, too, who had brought her up strictly. I'm glad to say they did not condone her behavior.
What happened?
Well, naturally, I refused to keep her under my roof another moment.
Did she drown herself?
Yes,
How old was she?
17.
Only 17.
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was. I told her she was beyond the pale and no decent person would take her into their house. I told her her child would be a child of sin, would be branded all its life. Naturally, a man would never consider marrying her. I told her I felt sorry by ever having had her under my roof.
You told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes. I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly. I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And I suppose you turned her out to the house?
Well, of course.
And she didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found she drowned herself?
Feel like?
Yes. Didn't you blame yourself?
Well, certainly not. I had nothing with which to be sorry about.
I believe you really feel that way. That makes it even more horrible.
That girl is unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. And the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment he executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand.
Excuse me, breakfast
The
is ready.
wicked shall be turned into hell. Ain't that right?
Excuse me, miss. Do you know where the gentlemen are? Breakfast is ready.
Sir Lawrence Walgrave is sitting out there in the sun. Dr. Armstrong and Mr. Blah are searching the island. I shouldn't bother about them.
Shall not the isles shake at the sound of the fall? When the wounded cry? When the slaughter is made in the midst of thee?
Shall we go in?
I do not feel like eating.
Breakfast is ready, sir.
Then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones and lay away their robes, put off their embroidered garments. They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground and tremble at every moment, and be astonished at thee.
Not reading aloud, Miss Brent.
It is my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
A very good habit, I'm sure.
What luck did you have?
There's no cover on the island, no cave, no one can hide anywhere. That's right. What about the house, Lombard?
No one. I'll swear there's no one in the house but ourselves. I searched it from attic to cellar. The breakfast is getting cold. Breakfast? Come on, Blower, you've been yelping for breakfast since we got up. Let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Or who knows? Perhaps even today.
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Captain Lombard.
Come on, General. Breakfast is ready. Can I have this? My God. One got left behind. A knife in Mackenzie's back.
Exactly, my dear sir. Don't you realize that this clever and cunning criminal is always comfortably one stage ahead of us? He knows exactly what we're going to do next. He makes his plans accordingly. I suppose you know there's only one place where a successful murderer could hide and have a reasonably good chance of getting away with it.
One place? Where?
Here, in this room. Mr. Owen is one of us. Well, Mr. Bloor?
I was wanting to get you alone. You were right in what you said this morning about this murder being one of us. And I think I know which one.
Oh, really?
Ever hear of the Lizzie Borden case in America? Old couple killed by an axe in the middle of the morning. The only person who could have done it was the daughter. A respectable, middle-aged spinster. Incredible. So incredible that they acquitted her. But they never found any other explanation.
So your answer to the problem, then, is Miss Emily Brent?
She's mad, I tell you. Religious mad. Mad as a hatter. And we must watch her.
Really, I formed the impression that your suspicions were a different course.
I've changed my mind, and I'll tell you why. She isn't scared. And she's the only one who isn't. Let's watch her. Look at one quiet, sir.
He made some coffee. There is cold in here.
Hard to believe when you think what a beautiful day it was this morning.
Oh, Rogers and Lombard tonight?
Oh, yes. But the boat shan't come. Put out this, it couldn't land anyway.
Miss Brent?
Allow me.
You were right to insist on our going to lunch and having some brandy with it. I feel better.
The court always adjourned for lunch.
All the same, it's a nightmare. It seems as though it can't be true. What are we going to do about it?
There, we must hold an informal court of inquiry. We may be able to at least illuminate some innocent people.
You don't happen to have a hunch by any chance, do you, Miss Claythorne?
If Miss Claythorne suspects one of us three, that is rather an awkward question, don't you think?
Oh, I'm sure it isn't any of you. If you'd asked me whom I suspected, I'd say Dr. Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Yes. Because, don't you see, Booth had far away the best chance to kill Mrs. Rogers. Being terribly easy for him as a doctor to give an overdose of sleeping pills.
Yes, but someone else gave her her brandy, remember?
Her husband had a good chance of administering the drug.
Oh, it isn't Rogers. He wouldn't have the brains for a stunt like this, nor the money. Besides, you can see he's scared stiff.
My God, it's something like a stroke.
You. Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor?
No hope of rescue until this dies down. Is that coffee? Good. I've taken to coffee now, you see.
That is strange. In the face of danger is nothing short of heroic.
It is very unlikely that the boat could reach us, even if it knew of our plight. After 24 hours. Even if the wind drops, the sea is still yet to go down.
You're awfully wet.
Is anyone a swimmer? Would it be possible to swim to the mainland?
It's over a mile, and in this you'd be dashed among the rocks and drowned.
Drown. In the pond.
I beg your pardon, Miss Brent.
After dinner nap.
It's terribly cold in here.
I could light a fire if you like, miss.
That would be a good idea.
A very sound scheme, Rogers. Excuse me, has anyone seen the top bathroom curtain? Really, Rogers, are you going bat too?
The bathroom curtain.
Yes, sir. Scarlet All Silk. It's missing. Anyone seen a Scarlet All Silk curtain? No good, I'm afraid, Rogers. It doesn't matter, sir. I just thought it is odd. Everything on this island is odd. I shall know. Go get some sticks and get a nice fire going.
He's awfully wet. I wonder if he would like some hot coffee. Roger! Roger!
What's become of Armstrong?
He went up to his room to rest.
Someone's probably battered him one by now.
I do suspect he had a good sense to bolt his door.
It won't be so easy now that we're all on our guard.
I'd advise you, Mr. Bloor, not to be too confident. I'd like shortly to propose certain measures of safety. I think we should all adopt.
Against whom?
Against each other. We are in grave danger here. Of the 10 people who originally came to this island, 3 have been definitely cleared. There are only 7 of us left. 7 little Indian boys.
One of whom is a bogus little Indian boy.
Exactly.
Well, regardless of what Miss Claythorne said just now, I'd say that you, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. He's a well-known doctor, so you know all over England.
That proves nothing at all, Bloor. Judges have gone mad before. So have doctors. So have policemen.
Hear, hear. Well, does he want some coffee?
He said he'd rather make himself a nice cup of tea. And what about Dr. Armstrong? Do you think we ought to take him up the car?
I'll take it up if you like.
I'll take it. I need to change.
Yes, do go and change or catch cold.
I don't think Dr. Armstrong will let you, Captain Lombard. He would rather prefer to see me. He might be afraid of your revolver.
Yes, that revolver. I was wanting to word with you about that.
Oh, do go and change.
What were you going to say?
I'd like to know why you brought the gun on what's supposed to be a little social visit.
You do you? I've led a rather adventurous life. Gotten in the habit of carrying a revolver around with me. Been in a bit of a jam once or twice. It is comforting to have a gun handy, don't you agree?
We don't care either. Now then, I want the truth about this gun.
What a damn suspicious fellow you are, Bloor.
I know a fishy story when I've heard one.
If it's about that revolver, I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
Yes. Well, I got a letter asking me to come here as the guest of Mr. and Mrs. Owen. Said it would be worth my while. The writer said he had heard I'd got a reputation for being a good man in a tight place. Said there might be some trouble, but I'd be all right if I kept my eyes open.
I'd have never fallen for that.
Well, I did. I was bored. God, how I was bored back in this tame country. It is an intriguing proposition, you must admit.
Too late for my liking.
Oh, that's what gave it all its charm. It aroused my curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yes, quite.
Oh, do go and change, please.
I'm going, my love, I'm going. The maternal instinct, I think it's called.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
If that story is true, why didn't he tell it last night?
It might have been exactly the emergency for which you've been prepared.
Perhaps it was.
I hardly think so. It was just Mr. Owen's little bit of cheese to get him into the trap with the rest of us. He must have known him well enough to allow his curiosity.
He's a wrong in that man. I wouldn't trust him a yard.
Are you such a good judge of the truth?
We must get out of here. We must before it's too late.
One thing we mustn't do is to give away to the nerves, Doctor.
I'm sorry. We're under a case of physician heal thyself. But I've been overworked lately. I'm run down.
Sleeping badly?
Yes. I keep dreaming. Operations, hospital, knife in my throat.
Real nightmares?
Yes. Do you ever dream you're in court? Sentencing a man to death?
Are you by any chance referring to a man called Edward Seaton? A particularly brutal and cold-blooded murderer. And the jury liked him. They were inclined to let him off. However, I got Seaton's goose.
It's cold in here.
I wish Rogers would hurry up.
Roger's been gone a long time. Thanks keeping him.
He said he's got to get some sticks.
Sticks? My God, sticks! Gone. Oh, they're only 6. They're only 5.
5?
Rogers and Lombard!
Oh, no, not Philip.
Rogers! Rogers!
Where the hell's Laura up to like a madman?
Oh, Philip.
Have you seen Rogers?
No, why should I?
2 more Indians have gone. 2!
I thought it was you. I didn't know.
Well, what is it?
In the scullery.
Is he?
Yes, he's dead all right.
How?
Axe. Somebody snuck up behind him whilst he was bent over the wood box.
What? He chopped himself in half? And then there was 6.
Stop it!
All right.
She'll be all right.
What's next, boys? Bees? Do they keep bees on this island? That's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little Indian boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one. And then there were 5.
My God, he's right. There are only 5.
Bumblebee stung one. We all look pretty spry. Couldn't be any of us. Oh, God. You don't think... Hypodermic syringe. Some Waltern bee sting.
Well, she was sitting there. One of us.
Yes, one of us.
Which of us?
Little Indian boys sitting in a row, watching each other, waiting for the blow. New version, up to date. Have to relieve the gloom, don't I? Damn that electric pump running down. Let's play a nice round game. How about inventing one called Suspicion? You know, A suspects B, B suspects C, and so on. Let's start with Mr. Blore. Not hard to guess whom Blore suspects. Sticks out a mile. I'm your fancy, aren't I, Blore?
I wouldn't say no to that.
You're quite wrong, you know. Abstract justice isn't my line. If I committed murder, there would have to be something in it for me.
Well, all I notice is that you've acted suspiciously from the start. Told 2 different stories. You came here with a revolver, now you say you've lost it.
I have lost it.
I like this story.
What do you think I've done with it? I suggested myself that you search me.
Well, you haven't got it on you. But you know where it is.
Oh, I cached it somewhere ready for the next time. Is that it?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Use your brains for once, Blore. If I'd wanted to, I could have shot the lot of you by now. Pop, pop.
Oh, but that's not the big idea.
Crazy touch. My God, man, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says there are some lunatics you never know were lunatics. I'd say that's true enough.
We shouldn't just sit here doing nothing. There must be something we can do, surely. Surely there's something. If we lit a bonfire. In this weather.
A question of time and patience, I'm afraid. If the weather were clear, then we could light a bonfire, send
Question
a
of time. We can't afford time. We shall all be dead.
I think the precautions that we have all adopted will be adequate.
I tell you, we shall all be dead. All but one. He'll think of something else. He's thinking now.
Poor Louise.
What was her name? Cleats?
Was it nerves that made you do her in, Doctor?
No. Drink. I used to be a heavy drinker. God help me. I was drunk when I operated. Quite a simple operation. My hands shaking all over the place. I can remember her now. Big, heavy countrified woman. And I killed her.
So I was right. That's how it was.
Well, sister knew, of course, but she was loyal to me. Went to the hospital. I gave up drink, gave it up altogether. I went in for a study of nervous diseases.
Very successfully.
One or two lucky shots. Good result with one or two important women. Well, they talked to their friends. For the last year or two, I've been so busy, I hardly know which way to turn. I got to the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown Owen. And down will come Cradle and Doctor and all.
You stop your dabble, sneering and joking.
Gentlemen, please, we can't afford to quarrel.
You're right. I apologize.
It's this terrible inactivity that gets on my nerves.
We are all adopting, I feel convinced, the only measure possible, so long as we remain together, all within sight of each other. The repetition of the tragedies that have occurred cannot be possible. We have all submitted to a search. Therefore we know that no man is armed either with firearm or knife, nor has any man got cyanide or any drugs about this person. If we remain, as I say, within sight of each other, nothing can happen.
But we can't go on like this. We should eat food. Sleep. That's what I say.
Obviously, the murderer's only chance is to get one of us detached from the rest. So long as we prevent that, we are safe.
Safe?
You're very silent, Vera.
There isn't anything to say. I wonder what the time is. It's this awful waiting. Waiting for the hours to go by and yet feeling that they may be the last. What is the time?
8:30.
Is that all?
Awful light, this. How are the candles holding up?
There's still a full box. Wind's dying down a bit. What do you think, sir?
Perhaps. We mustn't get too optimistic,
The
though.
murderer's got everything on his side. Even the weather seems to be falling in with his plans.
What about something to eat?
If you like, I'll go and open some tongue and make some coffee. But you four stay here. That's right, isn't it?
No, Miss Claythorne, not quite. You see, it might be inadvisable to eat or drink something that you had prepared out of our sight.
Oh, you don't like me, do you?
It's not a question of dislikes or likes, I'm afraid.
There are very few tricks that would get past you, Sir Lawrence. But by the way, if you won't be offended by my saying so, you're my man.
This is hardly the moment, Captain Lamar, for any of us to indulge in the luxury of taking offense.
I don't think it's Mr. Bloor. I may be wrong, but I can't think Bloor's got enough imagination for this job. All I can say is, if you are the murderer, I take my hat off to you for a damn fine actor.
Thank you.
For now. I don't think it's the doctor either. I don't think he's got enough nerve. You've got enough nerve, Vera. On the other hand, you strike me as eminently sane. Therefore, you'd only commit murder if you had a good motive.
Thank you.
I thought of something.
Splendid. Animal, vegetable, or mineral?
That man says he's a police officer. We have no proof of that. He only said so after the gramophone record when his name had been given. Before that, he was pretending to be a South African millionaire. Perhaps the police officer is just another impersonation, but we really know that. Nothing at all.
He's a policeman, all right. Look at his feet.
That's enough out of you, Captain Lombard.
Well, now we know where we are. Oh, by the way, Doctor, Miss Claythorne suspects you. Oh, yes, she does. Haven't you seen her shoot you a dirty look from time to time? It all works out quite prettily. I suspect Sir Lawrence. Bloor suspects me. Armstrong suspects Bloor. Well, what about you, sir?
Well, quite early in the morning I formed a certain conclusion. It seemed to me that everything that had occurred pointed quite unmistakably to one person. I am of the same opinion.
Which one?
No, I think it might be inadvisable to mention that person's name at the present time.
Inadvisable in the public interest.
Exactly.
Well, what about the food idea?
No, let's stay here. We're safe here.
I can't say I'm hungry.
Not ravenous myself. You can go out and have a guzzle by yourself, Bloor.
Well, I could go out and bring in a tin of biscuits.
Good idea. Oh, Bloor.
Aye?
An unopened tin, Bloor. It's, just the wind. Making the curtains run.
I wonder what happened to the bathroom curtain. The one that Roger spissed.
By the wildest stretch of imagination, I cannot see what any homicidal lunatic wants with a scarlet oil silk curtain.
Things seem to have been disappearing. Miss French lost a skein of knitting wool.
Then the murderer, whoever he or she is, might also be a kleptomaniac.
How does it go? 5 little Indian boys.
Going in for law. One got in Chancery.
Chancery? But how could that apply? Unless, of course, you...
Precisely, my dear young lady, that's why I'm sitting right here.
Ah, but I'm casting you in the role of murderer, not victim.
Chancery can't apply to a boxer.
Maybe we'll have a free fight. That seems to let you out, my dear.
That awful rhyme, it keeps going round and round in my head. I think I shall remember it till I die. Mr. Bloor, the long time.
I suspect the big bad wolf has got him by now.
I have tried to ask you once before to restrain your peculiar sense of humor, Captain Lombard.
Sorry, sir. Must be a form of nervousness.
Put your hands up, Sergeant.
No, thank you.
But you haven't had any dinner.
I couldn't eat anything.
I warn you, Bloor will wolf a lot.
Don't see why you have to be so funny about it. Starving ourselves won't do any good now, will it? How are we off with cigarettes?
Haven't got any.
I've run out too.
Fortunately, I'm a pipe smoker.
I've got a whole box of sticks in my suitcase. I'll get them. I could do for a cigarette myself. But you all see that you stay where you are.
Not bad, these biscuits. What are they, cheese?
Cheese and celery.
That girl ought to have had some.
Your nerves are in a bad state.
I don't know if I agree with you there, Doctor. Miss Claythorne strikes me as a rather cool and resourceful young lady, quite remarkably so.
So that's your idea, is it? That she's the one in the woodpile?
Hardly likely the one.
You and I, Doctor, see women from slightly different angles.
I say, what about a spot of whiskey?
Good idea. Providing, of course, we tackle an unopened bottle. Vera!
No, this way! Away! Vera, where are you?
Help me, please!
Oh, Lord! Damn it!
Someone!
I can't say a thing, Captain! What are you? Keep an eye on Armstrong! All right, up! What you got now? Vera!
Please, where are you?
What? Who is that?
What is up, Captain? What is up?
Here I am.
Well, get me out some light. It's awful in the dark. You don't know where you are. You don't know where anyone is.
That damn trapped on the stairs, blowing out all the candles. Here, I've got a lighter.
Where's Dr. Armstrong?
I'm hunting for matches.
Never mind, Matthew. Get some more candles.
It was awful. It
don't wonder you yelled.
Was that seaweed there?
I don't know, but when I find him, he'll be sorry he was ever born.
Move back!
It's all right, Miss Claiborne. It's only me. Here we are. Who fired that shot?
I don't know.
Good shot.
He's dead. Shot through the head.
One got in Chancery, and then there were
Miss
four.
Claiborne.
Vera.
You got me out of the way. You got me to go upstairs for cigarettes. You hung that seaweed there. You did it so you could kill that man in the dark. You're mad, crazy, all of you. That's why you wanted the red curtain and the knitting wool. We've all planned long ago for that. Oh my God! Let me get out of here!
Vera!
Three little Indian boys sitting in a row, thinking as they guzzle who's next to go.
It's all right, Miss Claiborne. I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
I must say I was hungry, but I don't think I shall ever fancy eating tinned tongue again.
I was needing that meal. I feel like a new man.
We've been nearly 24 hours without food. That does lower the morale.
Somehow in daylight, everything seems different.
You mustn't forget that there's still a homicidal lunatic loose somewhere on this island.
Why is it one doesn't feel jittery about it anymore?
Because we know now beyond any possible doubt who it is. Eh, Gore?
That's right.
It was the uncertainty before. Watching each other, wondering which.
I said all along it was Dr. Armstrong.
You did, my sweet, you did. Until, of course, you went completely bats and suspected us all.
It does seem rather silly in the light of day.
Very silly.
Allowing it is, Armstrong. What do you think's happened to him?
Well, we know what he wants us to think has happened to him.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe. Just one shoe. Sitting prettily on the cliff edge. Inference. Dr. Armstrong has gone completely off his little onion and committed suicide.
All very circumstantial. Down to one little Indian broken over there in the doorway.
I think that was rather overdoing it a bit. A man wouldn't think of doing that if he was going to drown himself.
Yes, but we're fairly sure he didn't drown himself. But he had to make it appear as though he were the seventh victim, all according to plan.
Supposing he really is dead.
I'm a little suspicious of death without bodies.
How extraordinary to think that there are 5 dead bodies in there. And we've been eating tinned tongue.
A delightful villain and disregard for facts. There are 6 dead bodies, and they are not all in there.
Oh, no, she's right. There are only 5.
What about Mrs. Rogers?
No, she's the 5th.
Oh, come. Marston 1, Mrs. Rogers 2, Mackenzie 3, Rogers 4, Emily Brent 5, and Wargrave 6.
7, 8, 9. Armstrong 10. That's right. Sorry, old boy.
Say, don't you think it would be an idea if we put Mrs. Rogers in the morgue, too?
Look here. I'm a detective, not an undertaker.
Oh, for heaven's sake, stop talking about bodies. The point is that Armstrong's murdered them.
We should have realized it was Armstrong straight away.
How do you think he got hold of your revolver?
Haven't the slightest idea.
Tell me exactly what happened during the night.
Well, after you pitched a little fit of hysterics and locked yourself in your room, we decided we'd all better go to bed.
And so we all went to bed and locked our doors.
About an hour later, I heard someone move past my room. I came out and knocked on Bloor's door. He was there all right. Then I went to Armstrong's room. It was empty. That's when I came and knocked on your door and told you to sit tight no matter what happened. Then I came down here. The window on the balcony was open and my revolver was lying just beside it.
Why the devil should he chuck your revolver away?
I haven't the slightest idea. Either an accident or he's crazy.
Where do you think he is?
Probably lurking somewhere. Waiting to get a crack at one of us.
We ought to search the house.
What? In Morgan's in ambush?
No, I never thought of that.
You quite sure you heard no one moving around after we went out?
Oh, I imagined all sorts of things. But nothing short of setting the house on fire would have got me to unlock my door.
We'll see. Just early suspicious.
What's the use of talking about it? What are we going to do?
If you ask me, do nothing. Sit tight and take no chances.
Look here, I want to go after that fellow.
What a dog of the bulldog breed you are, Bloor. By the way, between friends and without prejudice, you did go in for that little spot of perjury, didn't you?
I don't guess it makes any odds now. Mind I was innocent. When he ganged me, we set him off. He squared me and we put him away for a stretch. I wouldn't admit it now.
You think we're all in the same boat, do you?
Well, I couldn't very well admit it in front of Mr. Justice Walgrave, now could I?
No, hardly.
Fellow Seaton, I say, do you think he was innocent?
Quite sure of it. Old Wargrave must have had some reason for wanting him out of the way. Well, Bloor, I'm certainly glad you've come off your virtuous perch. Hope you made a tidy bit out of it.
Nothing like what I should have done. That mean lot, that Benny gang. I got my promotion, though.
And Lander got penal servitude and died in jail.
Well, I couldn't very well tell he was going to die now, could I?
No, that was your bad luck.
Yes, you mean?
Yours too. Because as a result of that fact, you may find your life cut short unpleasantly soon.
Me? But Armstrong? I'll watch it.
You'll have to. Remember, there are only 3 little Indians left.
Well, what about you?
I shall be quite all right, thank you. I've been in tighter places before and gotten out of them. Besides, I've got a revolver.
Oh, yes. Revolver. They said you found it lying down there. What's to prove you hadn't had it on you all the time?
Same old gramophone record. No room in your head for more than one idea at a time.
No, but it's a good idea.
And you're sticking to it.
And I'd have thought of a better story than that if I were you.
I just wanted something simple. Something a policeman could understand.
Now, what's the matter with the police?
Nothing, now that you've left the force.
Now, look here, Captain Lombard. If you're an honest man, as you pretend...
No, we're neither of us honest.
If you're telling the truth for once, you ought to do the square thing and chuck that revolver down there.
Don't be an ass.
I've set out for looking for Armstrong, haven't I? If I'm willing to do that, will you lend me that revolver?
No, I won't. It's my revolver and I'm sticking to it.
Then you know what I'm beginning to think.
You're not beginning to think it, you square-headed flatty. You thought it last night and now you've gone back to your original idea. I'm the one and only unknown Owen. Is that it?
I won't contradict you.
Well, you can think what you damn well please, but I'm warning.
You're both behaving like a pair of children!
Sorry, teacher.
Of course, Captain Lombard is the unknown. The unknown Owen is Armstrong, and I'll tell you one very good proof of it.
Oh, what?
Think of the rhyme. 4 little Indian boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. A red herring. Don't you see the subtlety of it? That's Armstrong's pretended suicide. It's only a red herring, so he really isn't dead.
Very ingenious.
To my mind, it's absolute proof. You see, it's all mad because he's mad. He takes a queer, childish, crazy pleasure in sticking to the rhyme and making everything happen in that way. Dressing up the judge, killing Rogers when he was chopping sticks, using a hypodermic on Miss French when he might just as well have drugged her. He's got to make it all fit in.
That might give us a pointer. Where do we go from here? 3 little Indian boys walking in the zoo, a big bear hooked one, and then there were 2. Ha! They'll have a hard one of that one. There's no zoo on this island. I say, Captain Lombard, what about a nice bottle of beer?
Do stop thinking about your stomach, Thor. This craving for food and drink will be your undoing.
But there's plenty of beer in the kitchen.
Yes, and if anyone wanted to get rid of you, the first place they'd think of putting a little bit of poison is in a nice bottle of beer.
Boat? A boat? Ah!
Thor's got his.
No.
A wire strung across the path. Connected to something above it.
He.
Yes. Crushed. Head stove in. And huge bronze bear with a clock in it from the lantern.
Oh, there. Oh, how ghastly. Oh, it's this awful childishness.
No. God, what a fool Blore was.
Oh, now there are two.
Yes, and we'll have to be very careful of ourselves.
Oh, we shan't do it. He'll get us. We'll never get off this island.
Yes, we will. I've never been beaten yet.
Don't you feel that there's someone now? Here, in this room. Watching. Watching and waiting.
Yes.
Then you do feel.
No, I don't.
Oh, please, Philip. Let's get out of this house. Anywhere. Perhaps if that was a boat, they'll see us.
All right. We'll go to the top of the island. It's sheer cliff on the far side, and we'll be able to see if anyone approaches from the house.
Anything's better than staying here.
Won't you be rather cold in that dress?
I'd be colder if I were dead.
Suppose you're right. Quick reconnaissance.
Be careful, Philip, please.
Don't worry, I'm not Blore. There's no window directly above. Hello. There's something washed up on the rocks.
What? It looks like a body.
You'd better wait in there. I'll go have a look.
Armstrong. Armstrong's body.
It's Armstrong. Drowned. Washed up at the high water mark.
So there's no one on the island? No one except us two?
Yes, dear. Now we know where we are.
So we know where we are.
Very pretty trick of yours, that wire. Quite neat. Old Wargrave always knew you were innocent.
You don't think that I would...
So you did drown that boy after all.
Oh, I didn't. That's where you're wrong. Please believe me. Please listen to
I'm
me.
listening. You'd better make it a good story.
It isn't a story. It's the truth. I didn't kill that child. It was someone else.
Who?
A man. Peter's uncle. I was in love with him.
Well, this is getting interesting.
Don't sneer. It was hell. Absolute hell. Peter was born after his father's death. If he'd been a girl, he would have gotten everything.
A well-known tale of the wicked uncle.
Yes, he was wicked, and I didn't know it. He said that he loved me, but that he was too poor to marry. There was a rock far out that Peter had always wanted to swim to. Of course, I wouldn't let him. It was far too dangerous. One day we were on the beach. I had to go back to the house for something I'd forgotten. When I'd gotten back, I looked down and saw Peter swimming out to the rock. I tried to go after him, and Hugh tried to stop me. Don't be a fool, he said. I told the little ass he could do it.
Go on. This is interesting.
I pushed past him and plunged into the sea and swam after Peter. By the time I'd gotten there, he was gone.
And everything went off well at the inquest. They called you a plucky girl, and you remained discreetly quiet about Hugh's part in the business.
Do you think anyone would have believed me? Besides, I couldn't. I really was in love with him.
Well, it's a pretty story. And then I suppose Hugh let you down.
Do you think I ever wanted to see him again?
You certainly are a convincing liar, Vera.
Can't you believe the truth when you hear it?
Who killed Blore? I didn't. And Armstrong's dead. I've broken most of the commandments in my life, and I'm no saint. But there's one thing I won't stand for, and that's murder.
You won't stand for murder. Well, what about all those natives you left to die in Africa?
That's what's so damn silly. I didn't.
What do you mean?
For once, just once, mind you, I played the hero. Risked my life for the lives of my men. I left them my gun, ammunition, and all the food there was. And took a chance through the brush. For some incredible luck, it all worked out. But it wasn't in time to save me. And the story got around that I deliberately abandoned my men. There's a lie for you.
You can't expect me to believe that. Well, you practically admitted to the whole thing.
I know. I got such a kick out of seeing all your faces.
Oh, you can't fool me with this stupid lie like that.
Blast you!
Why didn't I see it in you before? It's there in your face. The face of a killer.
You can't fool me any longer, Vera.
Now.
Coming.
One step closer and I'll shoot.
Young, lovely, and quite mad.
It's all come true. My tender little Indian plan. My rhyme! Silence in the court. If there's any more noise, I shall have the court cleared. It's all right, my dear. Don't be frightened. This is a court of justice. And you get your justice here. You thought I was dead? I thought I was a ghost. Armstrong said I was dead. That was the clever part of my plan. Said we'd trap the murderer. We fixed up my supposed death, so I should be free to spy upon the guilty one. He thought it an excellent plan. Came out that night to meet me by the cliffs without any suspicion. I sent him over with a push so easily. He swallowed my red herring all right. No, Vera Claythorne. All my life I've wanted to take life. Yes, to take life! I had to get what enjoyment I could out of sentencing the guilty to death. I've always enjoyed doing that. Close enough. I should do myself. In my own hands. But I'm a judge of the High Court and I've got a sense of justice. And as between our sovereign lord, the king, and the prisoner at the bar will true deliverance make. Guilty, my lord? Yes, guilty. You're all guilty, but the law couldn't touch you, so I had to take the law into my own hands. Into my own hands! Silence in the court! Anthony Martin first. Mrs. Walters next. Plummeting in the brandy. Mackenzie, stop! Got Rogers with an axe, he was chopping sticks. Dude, Emily Brent's coughing, so she couldn't feel the hypodermic. Booby trap for Blore. Blore was a fool. I always knew it'd be easy to get Blore. Turning that revolver was a clever touch. Made the end interesting. I knew you two would suspect each other at the end. The question was, who'd win out? I banked on you, my dear, the female of the species. Ha ha! Besides, it was always more exciting to have a girl at the end. Prisoner at the bar! Have you anything to say why sentence should not be passed on you? Miss Vera Claythorne, I sentence you to death. Oh, that's what they all say. Must plead not guilty. Yes, of course, you're going all the way out for insanity. A verdict of insanity. But you're not mad. I'm mad, but you're not.
Yes, I am, Mrs. I swear it. I never killed that child. I never wanted to kill him. George, you know when a person's guilty and when they're innocent. I swear I'm telling the truth.
So you didn't drown that little boy after all?
No.
That's very interesting. But it doesn't matter much now, does it? I can't ruin my lovely poem. Rhyme. Indian boys. Don't you see? You're the last one. When you're the Indian boy left all alone, he went and hanged himself. And then there were none. We must have a hanging. At my hanging.
I'm not going to hang myself.
I don't think you quite understand. The police will be coming soon. Anybody caught alive on this island with 9 dead corpses surely will be hanged sooner or later. Oh, I suppose you could go through a lengthy and quite expensive whole procedure. Or do yourself a favor. For myself, cyanide. So much of the damn stuff left I couldn't see it going to waste. Goodbye, my dear. Oh, my.